Good morning to the morning DNA for February 15th, 2021. I am Aaron Dyster, the man of a single black shirt. She is Danae Hughes, the woman of a million onesies. And we are
No.
here. No,
No.
just the one from this morning. A million distractions. We are here to find out what today is made of. Hi, Danae. Penguin onesie Danae. How are you this morning?
Did penguins quack? Because I almost just went quack, quack. But that's not right.
Let's pretend. I've seen enough penguin documentary in my life to know that they make some sort of barky, quacky noise.
Maybe I should just be like, what is it? The dance that you tap your feet on. Tap dancing.
Little happy feet reference.
Guys, listen, it's been a morning. I got little to no sleep last night.
Yeah?
Yeah. I finally got sleep once I moved on to my toddler's twin-size bed and could just be alone. But then, of course, I was joined by two puppies pretty quickly because I can't be left alone in my house. Everybody just wants to hang out with me. So
yeah, you guys do family sleep. Like everybody in your house sleeps in the same room.
We go to sleep in the same bed together, and then we usually try to move Iris to her own bed to begin to train her to get on out of her own. But now she just climbs up in bed with us. So we'll wake up and I'll have a Iris splayed all over me. You're
going to Iris's bed for some alone time. Got it. Understand. Yes, this is parenting. If my kid won't listen to me, I'll just be the one that takes the hit.
Oh man. The other thing that's really crazy though, and this was the main reason, is because the mattress style that we have for her is the super firm mattress, which I love the harder mattresses. And the one that we have for our bed is pillow soft. And I hate it so much.
Yeah.
I think it causes me a lot of body problems personally. So I was like, I'm going to go get some good sleep in a good bed. So I did get like a few hours of sleep in a toddler bed.
On a more firm mattress.
And then I had to jump up this morning. And usually my husband helps me get, Iris out the door on Monday so we can do this show together. But he's out there in the snow. It's snowing here, guys.
Snowing is an understatement for here. It's Michigan here in Missouri this week.
It doesn't feel like Michigan. Is this Michigan weather?
This is 3 months in Michigan. This is what it's like for about 3 months of the year in Michigan. Yeah.
No.
Where it never gets warm enough for anything to melt. So any ice that comes down, any snow that comes down, it just kind of piles up on top of each other. So yeah.
Yeah. So I had to be the one that got up super early in the snow, get Iris to where she goes on Mondays, and then come back and make it in time for the show. So who knows how this is going to go? I couldn't think of the word tap dancing, so we'll see.
so we're in for it. So Skidorva helps us out, says the noise they make is like a trumpet did a raspberry on a baby's tummy. So now, Danae, I want you to... Yeah, I think it's probably right.
How is that?
That was pretty close, I think. I was going to ask you to imitate what you think that sounds like, and you just did it without any instruction.
That was a fantastic description. I also have to say, I'm working with a little bit of a new setup. I'm trying to change some stuff in this space. Sure. So my laptop was like super up here, and now it's kind of down here. So I already feel a little disoriented. But anyways, that's more distractions today.
So this is something that I think about often as like as somebody who's like both tries to be in show brain and out of show brain, right? Like when you're doing a show like this.
Wait, what?
You just want to be, yes, you live your life out of show brain. I totally get that. But for some of us, there's this battle between, I just want to have a normal conversation with my friend Danae and all our friends who hang out with us on a Monday morning. Yeah. And also I want to produce a good show, right?
I have to look at the camera.
Right. And my camera's up here. So I'll focus on my camera. Whereas my instinct is to focus on the chat, to look at you, Danae, when we're talking to each other. And so now you have your camera a little bit higher, and now you're dealing a little bit more with that, where you're like,
here, I'll just cover my eyes with my
that's right.
With my beak.
Let the penguin look at the camera, and you can look wherever you want.
You won't even know where I'm looking. This is great. This is perfect.
Yes.
I do want to say again, times like this, I do feel bad for our podcast listeners, as I know everything that is happening right now is very visual. But just for quick context, there is this thing happening on Twitch where people started to stream their Twitch As a
Uh-oh.
Twitch streamer. What?
Oh, I either you lost me or I lost you, but you froze for me. So one of us had a
Oh,
little internet hiccup, but you're good. You're
well,
good. You're good.
well, it's probably the weather. But my mother, she got onesies thinking that she was going to wear them, and then immediately was like, "Nope." And so she brought them to me. So I have this one, and I have a Perry the Platypus onesie as well.
Nice.
This one comes also with a butt zipper.
Oh, just in case, just in case you need a moment.
You have a restroom emergency while you're dressed as a penguin.
That has to take into account that people wear these out and about, right? Like that they just don't want to take off their entire onesie to have to do some business. It also means that I would never wear someone else's onesie. It is really right? that is not a lot of coverage for what you might need to do.
Genuinely, good point. Mom never wore this one. She just looked at it and was like, "Yeah, no," and then gave it to me. But yeah, if you ever see a used onesie, perhaps think twice.
Just turn around. Go the other way.
Not all of them have butt zippers, but this one does.
The only time I ever tried to wear a onesie was when for my pop culture universe, SIF Pop, when the support got to a certain level that I had to dress up like a unicorn.
Yes.
To review, not a unicorn.
No, it was a My Little Pony.
My Little Pony.
Yeah, I remember that.
The My Little Ponies movie. And yeah, so those are fun. There's video of that somewhere.
Were you in a onesie though?
I didn't end up being in a onesie because they don't make them
very many. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be a fun day today though. I had an appointment scheduled today. There's people already calling trying to cancel. It's just this white wonderland outside. Yeah. I was the only person.
It's not just us too. I was looking in the chat. Dexter's like, it's snowing in Houston right now.
Morning, Dexter.
Doc says it's snowing here in Wisconsin. Like it's just
That's
snowy.
Washington.
Oh, you know what?
Shout
Wisconsin.
Out to Washington.
Wisconsin or Washington wouldn't be all that surprising for snow. Those are more northern states, but
yeah. But you're right. We haven't had a snow like this in quite some time. It's got me thinking, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Because that's going to be my topic today. So be thinking about your snow stories.
Bo Hunter sets us up for a joke that I hope the payoff is worth it. Do you know how a penguin constructs his house? Do you know how a penguin constructs his house?
See, this is what's bad for me is I do try to think of it, but now it's like waddle.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
He glues it together. Thank you, Bo Hunter. We appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. For sure. Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, actually, I kind of start into today having had a week as well. So you may remember, in fact, somebody even in the, good morning said, hey, how was your first shot? Because last week I talked about that I was heading out right after the show. In fact, we kind of kept it tight so that I could get out for my first dose of the vaccine. Well, I will tell you now, I hold the distinction of being one of probably very few people who got their first dose of COVID vaccine on the very same day they tested positive for COVID. So, and of course, all the first questions people ask me when they find out about this are, does that affect the vaccine? Is it, how does that work together? And all the research I did, all the people I asked said they are completely unrelated. It's still good to have the vaccine. It does a different thing with your antibodies than the actual COVID does. I just have extra antibodies now working for me, having had it as well.
Through my feeds, my medical kind of update feeds that I'll glance through every once in a while. And one of the headlines was something like, if you've had COVID and you have the vaccine, you may not even need the second dose or something. Interesting. Because it works really well. But of course, everything is so early in research. So
see, that's the thing. Even a lot of the stuff you'll get where it looks like there just hasn't been a ton of time to see how the vaccine, lasts, and transmission is another one. You'll see a lot of things that are early studies show vaccine impacts transmission as well, that you can't actually give anybody the COVID if you've had a vaccine, but those are just early, and it's just way too early to say that for sure. And so it's like, still be safe, wear your mask, all that kind of stuff, just in case. So I'm scheduled for my second dose. I'm not planning on, not doing that at all. So yeah, I'm scheduled for my second dose, but it has been an interesting week. And if you're obviously the other question people ask, sometimes first, it really doesn't matter to me. I understand you love me and you care about me, but the other question people ask is, how are you? Like, you have COVID, you've been tested positive. How are you doing?
Obviously you're a mess. Look at you.
I'm doing great. I had
you're doing great. It's still only 9:14 in the morning, but you're doing great.
Well, I was diagnosed a week ago, but I had a couple of days of, and still dealing with a little bit of congestion. But the congestion could also be the fact that our heater is running nonstop right now. Mm-hmm. And this happens this time of year anyway. So I don't know if that's the COVID or not. One very big symptom that I do have, and that we will talk more about later. So should I just leave it as it is for now?
He's got the poops.
No. Yes, I'm doing a whole topic.
We're going to be talking about the poops later, everybody. That's why I brought up my little zipper bottom.
That's right. You ready to shoe a dough?
Let's do it.
All right. We are going to do our DNA in U. We're going to have a D topic, an A topic, and a U topic. Actually, hopefully several U topics. If there's something that you want us to talk about, a question that you have for us, you can go ahead and put that in the chat now. Just make sure you put a U at the front of it so that we can scan and find it pretty easily, or hold on to it till we get to that section. That works as well. But before we get into all that, we do our Monday FAQs. This is the friendship application question.
I need a puppet so bad. This is a moment wanting to reach over and grab a little puppet.
But Danae, I don't know if I was over here talking, like, so you doing a puppet, like, people can see that it's my voice. Like, you're not.
What? So?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying,
you
if you're
act
gonna
as
do
if
it,
that is that would be a deterrent of some
if you're
kind.
Gonna do it, you just solo layout yourself, and then as I'm talking, you do the puppet. It's like, okay, so Danae is going to do her FAQs. That is a friendship application. You're not going to do the puppet. All right, we'll go back to the regular.
Yeah, the moment's over. But maybe
all right, what is
time.
The application question for today?
Okay, so we've gotten through quite a few silly essay style questions, and then I transition at this point in the FAQ, and it becomes, and on a serious note.
Oh. Okay.
Looks like I can get serious now.
I don't
again, it's been a long time.
I've never seen or heard you do that on this show.
No.
Like you're always silly. There's never serious today.
We're almost to the final page. This is crazy. Okay. Here's the question. It's a deep one. Are you guys ready? What is a quality a friendship has to have in order to work properly?
A quality. Well, where everyone's, at least my mind goes to first, is honesty, right? Like that would probably be the pat answer.
Right.
Would be the idea of, somebody who's not going to
lie all the time.
Lie all the time.
Yeah, and I think that goes in conjunction with what my friend filled out here, which the first one was trust.
And right in our chat, first right in our chat is Polly saying trust. So,
yeah. And I feel like if you're honest, it builds trust. So I can see how kind of those things, merge together.
Yeah.
Another one that came up, I like Slabs. Good morning, Slab. Slab says money. Very, very wise. Very, very deep.
Yeah. That hurt.
My friend also wrote reality. And I think maybe what he meant was just being real, like being straight, shooting straight.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. Elizabeth has one here that I think is really high on my list. Like, as I think of people like that I'm like true deep friends with, I have to have this. And it's someone I can
poop in front of.
I'm sorry, what? What was that?
What
did you just say?
I didn't say anything.
What did you just say? Someone I can what?
Nothing. I'm just gonna.
What did you just say?
Aaron, I was joking around about poop again.
Did you say someone you can poop in front of? Is that what you said? Danae Hughes.
I'm ashamed. It was a joke. It was a joke, Aaron.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Because we're talking about
guess
poop.
we're not friends.
No.
And never will be.
Crap. Guys, this is going to make the rest of this very awkward. Not because I said it, but because Aaron and I are no longer.
Well,
no
this
longer
goes
friends.
right along with what I was going to say, which is someone I can joke around with. I think that is really, really important. Like, there's something about somebody who, like, you vibe with on a sense of humor level that I think, like, I know it seems trite or meaningless, but there's just something very foundational about that for me, I think. Like, and maybe it's the way I was raised, maybe because we joked around a lot in our house, or maybe it's because of the way I love humor and, I value that. But yeah, I think that sense of humor with that joke around one is a big one for me. What are some of the other ones you want to point out, maybe in the chat or just that you're thinking of?
While you look them over, there's a couple more that this person mentioned. Not Facebook dependent. I thought that was really insightful and true.
I deleted my Facebook, so.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I genuinely have zero people that I was more kind of actively friends with on Facebook that have transitioned into real life with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't blame them, and I'm not upset by that. It's mostly that it's just hard to maintain real life friendships. It takes effort and work.
Yeah.
And there really aren't a ton of, and this is going to sound really lame, but I can't think of another word, slots for it. Like,
no, I was just going to say that. And that's not a snobbery thing.
No,
that is a human thing. That is, you only have so much emotional space.
Well, I had
invest in so many people.
Exactly. I had this really tragic thing happen a couple of years ago with my daughter, and literally everything else just faded away because the most important thing I had to deal with as a human being was her safety and well-being. And then also my husband, and just as our little family unit had to deal with this tragic situation. And I just had this revelation at the time that I only have two physical hands. I can only hold on physically to two people. And who are those two people that I want to physically be able to hold on to, because I'm just one person? And then that just sort of like opened up my mind to realize that I also only have so much space for people that I can give my most intentional time to. And I've always been the kind of person who has it for a lot of people, but I can't carry it very far. So for example, I'm the kind of person that if you direct message me on Twitter, or you message me on Instagram, or you have my phone number and you text me, I'm going to text back and say hi, but I'm not going to carry it into deep, deep places because I literally can't, I can't manage and maintain so many deep, deep friendships. The kind of people that you could poop in front of is what I'm talking about.
No, still no. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I have I would say this always gets tricky when you start to actually count, right? Because
don't count.
No, I'm not going to count publicly. I'm just saying, you
have 41 movies you love. You can have 41 people. We all know your number.
Well, listen, if you're talking about the same degree of love for like a movie I enjoy, then I have tons of friends. But if you're talking about like a human being who you go deep with, who you trust completely, that takes time to build, for one. And again, you only have so much emotional energy. And I'm sure that number's under 12. I'm sure, especially if you exclude family, like that number is really low. And that's that's okay. I think that's really okay.
It is. I think it is too. Another one that was listed, and this is the final one on this one. We can go over some other ones that maybe you have seen in the chat, Aaron, is balance. A good sense of balance. And maybe that's just about expectations of, like, I don't expect people to be able to always reach out to me either, because I also know what it's like to have other things come into play, like especially when my kid comes home. It's like I can't really... Sure. Several days will go by and I'll say, "Oh my gosh, I never texted back Celise. What am I doing?" So
Danae reached out yesterday, I think, and just said, "Hey," and and I was like, "Hey, yeah, what's going on?" And then it was like 3 hours later, And I think what I texted back was something along the lines of, "Oh, I thought we were going to have a conversation, but apparently you're still a mother."
Aaron, look.
Yeah.
If I fold my arms, it looks like
Yesterday. I wasn't saying anything, so we can move on. Skidorva says
Oh, no.
respect. That's a good one. I think respect is a good one. Communication, very good one from Doc. The ability to communicate with each other. Vulnerability. That is for the deep friends. Like that vulnerability, that idea that I'm going to open up about something that is not necessarily something I would speak about publicly or just talk about all the time, but you know this about me. And that goes to trust as well. Trust and vulnerability are very connected in that way.
Just while I'm thinking about it, send some love to Dexter. Everybody in the chat, just send some love to Dexter, because his little boo doggy is going through some stuff right now, and he could use the love. So
Absolutely.
Hope the puppy's doing good.
Nick says someone who is kind. Kindness. It's a big one.
I love the quote that I read recently. If you want to know if a house, like, I don't remember how it starts out, but basically take somebody to a restaurant and see how they treat the waitstaff is a good gauge of their kindness meter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true.
No, it is very true. Here's an interesting one, and I want to talk about this one from Polly. Polly says, someone who I can argue politics and not lose the friendship. I want to talk about this one a little. I want to talk about this one a little bit because we live in such.
Can I make a guess?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna write down my guess.
What, your guess of what I'm going to say? Oh, I mean, I'm sure you know what I'm going to say. Do you want to say it? Or you're just going to write it down?
I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write it down. Okay, go ahead, Aaron. I'm writing it down. I've written it down. It's written.
This is an interesting one for me because we live in such a divisive time that it feels like this is something that that is such a big deal because you're afraid to get categorized as, the other team or whatever the case may be. This shouldn't necessarily be a sign of friendship. This should be a sign of humanity. This is one that extends, I think, beyond our deepest friends. And unfortunately, because of the situation we live in, it is only our deepest friends we feel like we can do this with. And that's unfortunate to me because this should just be how we interact with each other. We should be able to disagree with each other and still, not lose a view of the person's humanity, a view of the person's value as a human being. But in such a divisive time, that's really difficult to do. Now, that doesn't mean people's ideas or thoughts don't have consequences and that those consequences shouldn't be talked about and shouldn't be taken seriously. But if you're just talking about speech and the idea of here's what I believe, I'm a firm believer that that is something we should be able to do with each other without resulting in some kind of hatred or devaluing of each other. So, but yes, you're right. Right now, it has to be a close friend. Like you can't, like it's almost impossible to disagree with somebody, even an acquaintance, without, hindering that. So I definitely hear where it's coming from. Now I'm curious what you thought I was going to say.
Not that at all.
Yeah.
So I'm super glad that I wrote it down so I could tell you all how wrong I am. I just put it up in the chat. I thought it was going to be argue versus debate.
Well, all right. Well, let's talk about that for a few minutes since you brought it up. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No. Lolly says tribal politics is exhausting right now.
It really is.
I miss being able to bring up politics without having to think, how badly could this go with XYZ person? Yeah, it's very, very true. Or even just being around people or a tribe of people who, and I've heard this is something that I've heard about myself, is that I can listen to a lot of different people's opinions on a lot of different things and just not take it personal because I've done a lot of personal work to learn that, I don't know if you could, breaking news, it's not all about me. What? I'm not the center of the universe. So that was a shocker at some point in my life when I realized that. But when you stop taking everything so personal that someone else's opinion about something doesn't immediately negate or devalidify what you have experienced or your thoughts. And it's so important, I think, to listen to other people's opinions and go, I don't know that I agree, but we have some really interesting crossover. and let's go to those crossover places. Let's go to that Venn
Let's learn from each
diagram.
other.
I remember like one of the big ones, I'll just give an example. One of the really big first ones for me was being raised in a Christian home and then meeting people who had more of like an Eastern mysticism background and hearing their way of describing divinity and things like
Spirituality and
that.
those kind of things, yeah.
I was like, wow, there are a lot of similarities. It's just there are some very specific things that are different. And that didn't make me think that means that we can't be friends. It made me think, oh my gosh, there's so much we have in common. That's exciting. So.
Yeah, and everybody's built differently. I am built to have these conversations. I love talking about just about anything that we might disagree on because I truly believe this. A, I want to learn from your perspective, and B, I want to maybe enlighten the perspective of something that maybe you haven't thought. Like I want this give and take where we're able to sharpen each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, man, I just think we lose a lot with tribalism, especially because, and this is something I've talked about a lot recently with the politics divide. Do you know how many political topics there are now? Everything becomes team A, team B instead of, hey, let's have a talk about minimum wage. Hey, let's have a talk about homosexuality. Hey, let's have a talk about life issues. Like you can't have any of these conversations without going, oh, if you believe this way, you're on this team. And if you believe this way, you're on this team. And now that means all these other things about you as well. And so, boy, it is tribalism is a really dangerous place when you want to have positive conversations with each other and growth. So, yeah.
Greg asks a great question. Do you think social media is the cause of tribal politics or is it the result?
If you watch Social Dilemma, the documentary, I think on Netflix, Social Dilemma, it dives into a lot of these ideas and basically says that maybe not the cause, but certainly it is the fuel. There's a real fuel to the idea of how the social media sites are programmed to bring the divisive stuff to the top. And so, yeah, social media is definitely engagement, stuff
whether
that makes people
it's positive
angry
or negative.
Yeah,
They don't care.
Negative overpowers positive when it comes to engagement, and that's the problem. Yeah.
Polly says, I think it's been tribal since the forever. Social media is just a newer outlet for it. And I think that's true too. But the thing that's really interesting about social media, and I know we all know this because it's just so instant and it's so explosive and it allows for so many people to be emboldened with really, really divisive and extreme thoughts without repercussion and without seeing the damage. There's not a lot of there's not that. Okay. One of the things I'm doing with my child right now, so she's going to be 4 in April, is when she does something that I think could potentially hurt someone's feelings or hurt my feelings, just how she uses her voice, you know, when she's very demanding and very pointed and yelly, you know, at times because, well, she's 4 and she's learning how to communicate, all that stuff.
Sure.
I will overact a little bit on being like reacting to it and like kind of like, oh, that kind of hurt my feelings, you know? And she'll say, oh, Mama, why are you looking so sad? And I'll say, well, when you yell at me like that, it kind of hurt my feelings and we'll talk about it. None of that happens online, you know? So you miss that whole thing of that empathy of seeing how what you say can actually hurt somebody and the ability to like talk about it. It's a very interesting space. Actually, I was just considering this morning as I was waking up, I think I might delete Twitter soon. You know, I've had a really good experience on Twitter and I kind of want it to stay that way before it gets bad.
I want to remember the good times.
I want to be like, yeah, I had a good time on Twitter and I got out before it got weird, you know? It's
probably just optimistic, you know, stupid pie in the sky, Aaron. Like, you know, I am, but I think we're through, like, I feel like we're through the worst of it. I'm ready to say like, but I know, I know deep inside that I'm wrong.
No,
I'm like, come on, guys.
I'm hyper aware that every single day there's something I could say on a show like this or any other of
Sure.
the public outlets I have that will put me in the public eye, and people will find my home address and I will get death messages. That is something I live with every day because I know that
Yeah.
there are so many people who don't understand that that's wrong, or that there are ramifications for that. So I think maybe the better option is just to like not even engage with it.
No,
But
you're
at the
good.
same time, I think it's important to be a positive voice also. And so I have to make that decision every single day that I decide to stay on social media.
Yeah. The thing is to debate in your own mind the value you are getting from it. Can that
Mhm.
value be had somewhere else? And is
Right.
that value worth the pain you're experiencing? For me, Twitter still is, the value still is worth this. I actually don't experience that much pain on Twitter. I don't know if it's, the people I
Here,
have
dude.
around me, the people I choose to follow, whatever the case. I keep my followers very low. So,
Yeah.
like I'm not seeing a bunch of stuff. Or I should say the things I'm following, not my followers, whatever.
My
But
followers.
my kingdom on Twitter. But it is something that, like, if I needed to find that value somewhere else, can I? We've recently had this conversation as a family about the idea of Facebook is such a wonderful place to keep your family up to date with kind of what's going on in your life. And here's pictures of the kids and, that kind of stuff. And we're like, okay, that's valuable. Where's somewhere else we can find this value? And so we just created a shared Google photo album now. And you can comment on stuff, you can like stuff, but it's just us. And we just, share our stuff. And that's been great for me because I've been off Facebook for like a year, but now I feel like I'm more engaged with what's going on in my family's life, but in a more private, direct way. And I know you can do that stuff on social media, but that is not what they encourage. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that is not their overall goal. Their overall goal is massive engagement, make the circles as big as possible. Yeah.
Wow. We just blew that up. Hey guys, the original conversation was what's an important part of friendship? Um,
Yeah.
like Doc said something about getting naked. I don't know if that was about friendship or not, but this
It was a response to your idea that friendship was only based on whether or not you're willing to poop in front of someone today.
Oh.
And honestly, I'm not sure, Doc, which is a better friendship thing, to be willing to poop in front of someone or let's get naked. That is a debate that is unsettled
Oh
at
my
this point.
gosh. What a fun thing. Thanks guys so much for that. I know it can be very emotional at times because we all are so passionate. But these are the kinds of chats we love to have on the show.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No.
that's the friendship application question for today.
Wow. So let's get on to the DNA in you. And that means we start with Danae. What is your topic for today, Danae?
What is your topic for today, Danae? What's one of your favorite snow memories? I'd like for you guys to think about sharing a story with us. Once upon a time, there was snow. The end.
Did you have one you were thinking about that you wanted to start with? Or
Sure.
Because I have plenty, but go ahead. No, it's your topic. You start.
Oh, okay. So my
Here, we'll
favorite
give you
one.
your solo layout. There you go. Let's talk about your snow memory, Danae.
So my favorite story was when I was a baby penguin.
I went very Cartman there.
Mhm.
When I was growing up, we have not had a lot of epic snowfalls in Missouri in quite some time. I was just telling my husband last week that I cannot remember a good snow, at least not like the ones when I was a kid. And there was this one in particular. We were at my grandma's house, and growing up, there was lots of cousins around, so it was great. So we had lots of adventures, running in the basement together and fighting monsters and running around the backyard, and it was just like this epic, childhood experience. And in this one particular snow, usually it would snow about every year. We would get excited because there'd be sledding and, you put the big snowsuits on, and just like in the movies and all that stuff. But one year it had these massive snowdrifts that, went up against the side of the house, probably 6 feet tall snowdrifts. It was massive. And then, of course, the heat from the house moved the snowdrift out a bit. So we could crawl between the house and this, piles of snow. And we had such a good time. We got to build a little miniature igloo. Who gets to build an igloo in Missouri? that was the only time it has ever happened in my entire life where I've been
Yeah.
able to create a little snow cave, and it was the most epic experience. We had such a great time. It's fun because now I'm not interested in being cold. I'm not interested in going out in the snow. A friend of mine recently went on a snowmobiling adventure with his family, like up north. I just was like, why? Why though? But when I was little, that particular winter, I would have stayed out there until my fingers were frostbitten because I was having such a good time, and I love that memory.
It's like the sky is dropping Play-Doh. Like it's just this weird thing where the environment's like, here's creative stuff you can work with.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
And
yeah. Here's Play-Doh from the sky.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's like as a kid. And yeah, I grew up a lot in Michigan, and lived a lot in Michigan. So I've had plenty of snow experiences. But very similarly, when I was a kid, we lived on a court. This was actually in Ohio, I believe. But we lived on I said a court. Did they call them courts in Missouri?
Well, I went to basketball court in my mind. So
Okay. Cul-de-sac, maybe?
a cul-de-sac. Yes.
Like just a road that's just a circle, like you
Yes.
turn in and it's just a circle of houses. Those were called courts in Ohio, I guess. Like it was,
that's
yeah. I mean, that was the name. Like how it'd be like whatever Ave. It was such and such court, and so yeah, we lived on a court.
That makes more sense because it's not like the streets are called such and such cul-de-sac.
Right? Yeah. So anyhow, that is beside the point. Just a little
something to think about.
Geographical term difference. But when they would plow after a snow, all the snow from the court would be in front of our house. So they would push it all in, and then it would all pile up right in front of our home. And so every time there was a big snow, I would go out and dig through that pile that they had just put in front of our house and make like forts and pathways. And I would pretend like, one tunnel went to Narnia and one tunnel went somewhere else. And
did you really go to Narnia?
Well, I mean, I think so, but it's so hard to know now as an adult. You lose that part of your imagination. But
why wouldn't one path go to like the desert where it's warmer?
Because then it melts and you can't get back home.
That's true.
How would you get back home?
That's true. What was I thinking?
So I vividly remember going out there with some of my court buddies, my friends that lived in the area, and just digging through and having snowball fights. And snowball fights are the worst. Like they seem like such a great idea, and they are just not a great idea. Because they very much turn into ice fights very quickly.
Oh, so, no. Yeah. No. No. What fun. Yeah, we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. I just, with the snow outside, I'm wondering if we're going to start doing the same thing, with Iris, and it's going to be interesting because we didn't prepare for, winter stuff, but she wants to go out in the snow and experience it. So when she gets home today, I've got to figure out how to wrap her up and get her out in the snow.
Did you see this?
Nope. I missed it.
Nick comments, as I'm telling the story, growing up, our house was at the bottom of a cul-de-sac, and the snowplow would push all the snow in front of our house, and it made the biggest mountain to sled down and make forts with. It was awesome.
Oh my gosh. You two are snow buddies. That's so exciting.
That's how I determine who can be a friend.
That's right.
Did you live at the end of a court where the snow got plowed to? Yeah.
Nice. Very, very nice. Actually, I've already put that up.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but people listen on the podcast. So, okay. Dexter says Play-Doh doesn't give you frostbite. That is a fair point. That is a fair point.
As we transition to Aaron's question, which I'm really excited to get to for you guys, I wanted to put this one up from Bo Hunter, who says, what do you call an evil penguin's offspring? A deviled egg.
Very nice. Keep them coming. I'm all about that kind of stuff. Believe me. So you want to move on to my topic, the A topic today. I had mentioned that I got one symptom from COVID, one symptom I still had. Maybe you can figure it out from my topic. If you only got to taste one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I know what your answer is.
You know what my answer is?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. There are a lot of ways you could cheat the answer to this question, right? Like if you went with sugar and then it's like, oh, good, I get cookies and cake and ice cream. And it's like, no, let's go with actual prepared. Let's be specific about the food that you would want. Like specifically, this one food is the only one you can taste. For instance, even going as extreme as if it's pepperoni pizza, it's just pepperoni pizza. It's not, you don't also get fruit pizza. You
I
don't also
thought you were going to say pizza.
I figured that's where you thought I was going to go. But I'd like to get more specific than that. I don't want to cheat this question. I'd like that one specific food item that, you know, it was the only thing you could taste forever. Now, while you're thinking about the answer to this question, yes, I have lost my smell and taste. And that is a very common, I shouldn't say it's a very common symptom of COVID, but it seems to me it's the one that it's most like, oh, you lost that? Yeah, you've got COVID. Like, it seems to me like the most direct, this is for sure one of those signs that you've got it. And boy, is it depressing. It is so depressing to eat for just texture and temperature. Like that is all I have. Like if I eat a bowl of cereal in the morning, it's just, you know, cold liquid. And I might as well be water in my cereal as milk. You know what I mean? Like it's just cold liquid and then flakes that mush up in your mouth. You know, like there's
Slab says that your answer would be warm water because you do talk about it. But yeah, that's harsh.
Here's the thing. Water tastes exactly the same. You know why? Because water doesn't have a taste.
That would be so strange. I have had several friends at this point who have had COVID and have had that symptom, and they have also had the same reaction, which is just this general sense of depression and concern because the joy of flavor is gone.
Listen, I'm operating on the assumption that it's not permanent,
right?
And
because in most cases it comes back.
It could last a while. I've heard of it lasting 4 to 6 weeks for people, those kind of things. And so, operating on that assumption, I'm fine. And honestly, please understand this: if I lost my smell and taste for the rest of my life, I'm okay. Like this isn't like some sort of trauma. This is just an observation about how different it is. And when you're used to something, how depressing that can feel. That's probably too strong of a word. I know depression is a real thing. I you know, how sad it can feel just to be eating for texture and temperature. But I'm kind of looking at it as an opportunity. Imagine that, you know, silver lining, Aaron, to just eat the calories I need because like I literally have no desire to snack. Like I just like, what is that even? Like I don't even have a desire to chew gum. Like there's just like anything that would put a little flavor in my mouth.
So
it's just.
So this is just like one flavor ever, like one. So if I said something like mint, then I could taste mint in things, but I couldn't taste a chocolate chip mint because I couldn't take the taste of chocolate. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying you get.
What's the rule?
I'm saying you get every taste of your specific food. So if your specific food is Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies, you get to taste what a Thin Mint Girl Scout cookie tastes like, and not, you know, but
it's
nothing
not
else.
One ingredient; it's one item.
Correct. Yes.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. I like it. This one is from Polly. Maple syrup French toast.
Nice. I understand that.
Tyler says chocolate chips.
Hey, you might as well put those chocolate chips in something, right? Like because
right. Don't waste it.
Don't waste your chocolate chips on just chocolate chips.
Same with Greg. Greg is saying M&Ms. Put them in something, man. Like let's get them on pizza. Let's get them into baked in bread.
If you do an M&M's, here we are cheating the question, even though I didn't want to. But if you do like an M&M chocolate chip cookie,
right.
You can then pull the M&Ms out if you want and still eat those.
So here in this situation, if let's say that it was an M&M chocolate chip butterscotch cookie. Does that mean that if there was a brown sugar in something else, I could taste the ingredient?
No,
brown.
It's only you'd have to be able to take that thing apart and eat what's in it, you know, to taste the differences. So
when Elizabeth said bread in the chat, I was like, yes, and I think I know what mine is. I think mine would be, that Asiago cheese bagel. Oh my gosh,
there you go.
You would think I would say tater tots. But I love cheesy bagels, man. And I think I would also, just because of the rule, I would say with cream cheese so that
There
I
you
could
go.
also taste the cream cheese. Although I will order it with half of the cream cheese plain and
There you
half
go.
of the cream cheese will be
Now you're getting it.
the vegetable spread so that I can technically taste the garlic and the vegetables on that as well.
It's good.
And then also just a tiny sliver of it would have a little bit of salmon on it as well. 'Cause
I
that
mean, there's some
happens.
great choices in here. I want to get to where did I see it first? I see somebody. Anyways, I'll just put up this comment. It says an omelet sounds nice.
That's good.
Bacon, cheese, ham, omelet.
Yeah.
Then
get
I'm getting
all of it.
bacon. I'm getting like there's different tastes in there. Maybe even some hash browns in there.
Oh,
Like
yeah. That's good. See,
like just
yeah.
some sort of omelet that has a lot of different tastes in it. I think is a really smart
On a
way to go.
bagel. On an
As a
Aussie-
breakfast sandwich, where the top part is an Asiago bagel and the bottom part is a slice of French toast.
Dexter says this might make me sound like an alcoholic, but I love the taste of absinthe.
Okay,
No
fair
shame.
enough. There you go.
Nick says my wife describes not having taste and smell as being able to taste things as shapes.
Yeah, true.
Sweet things taste round, and salty things taste triangle.
I am not that advanced, but I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Breezy says that losing the sense of flavor and taste and such happened when she says when I swallowed my pill for thyroid cancer, I lost my taste for months and my tongue felt on fire a lot. That I was actually thinking about that too. Didn't know if it was coming back, you know, and that was really depressing and scary, difficult thing.
It was Lolly that first said the omelet. Can I be dull and say vegetable and feta omelet? If not, I'll settle for cheese. Yeah. So there's that. Polly says tater tot chili, please. Yeah, you got to get some with tater tots on it. Do we put tater tots in the omelet as well? I guess it had hash browns in there, so you kind of get a little bit of that flavor.
Okay.
But, yeah.
On the bagel.
I think omelet's a really great answer.
That's really smart.
The first thing that popped into my mind was lasagna. And I don't know why, but I was like, lasagna is always so good. And I just like that's one that I would really miss if I couldn't have lasagna, like the taste of on a bagel.
Don't forget that part. It's really important for this experiment.
Breezy Lady B says egg casserole with eggs, cheese, hash brown, mushroom, spinach, sausage, bacon, and ham. Really. I did think of also peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I would really miss the ability to taste peanut butter and jelly together. I think that's especially strawberry preserves with peanut butter. Yeah, I would totally miss that.
Wow.
I am missing that. I can't
so
taste
hungry.
any of it right now. I had a little phantom taste, I think, yesterday of an orange. Like I ate an orange and I was like, oh, I think I have about 10% of my taste back. I taste a little bit of orange flavor.
That's wonderful.
I like nothing else. So
maybe the citrus.
I could, maybe the acid or something.
Do you have another orange?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't buy one at a time.
We do. Don't judge.
It's probably less wasteful that way. It's just a
we
lot
have
of
one
delivery
orange.
orders.
Yeah, I won't let myself buy any fruit in bulk. And by bulk, I mean in the bags, because until I'm a big enough adult that I will eat all of them, I just don't deserve to have all of the oranges.
Yeah, well, after having 4 teenage boys in the home at the same time for a few years, everything we buy is in bulk. We're gonna have to learn how to not buy in bulk.
You are.
So.
Whoa, that's gonna be so weird for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other ones that you wanted to highlight before we go on to the U topics?
Yeah, Lolly says, and by the way, go ahead and start getting your U topics in right now with the letter U at the beginning. Lolly says, are you tempted to experiment with spicy foods, Aaron?
Tell him what you did. Tell him what you did, Aaron. Tell him. Hey.
Okay, I will tell them what I did. Danae, would you like to tell them what I did?
He ate a salt and vinegar chip.
I did.
On purpose.
I did. I didn't taste a thing. It just tasted like chewing a potato chip up.
Usually he would be in physical pain from eating that.
Yeah.
That's when I really knew it was serious. when you messaged that you had
Something with
eaten a
vinegar
chip.
in it, and it was just like, nothing. Don't taste the thing. I am curious about spicy stuff. If you would still feel the spicy, I think you would, because that's a physical response, right? Not
Yeah,
a taste
you would feel
response.
it in your esophagus, and you would
Yeah.
probably feel it coming out the other side.
Thanks, Danae.
I'm just warning you. Just
Always
letting you.
comes back to
I
that for
am
you.
your friend. Today is
Maybe you should have
definitely
said a friend is somebody
it's
that you can talk about poop with.
pooping penguins today.
Great. Which,
Sorry,
by the way, if you've ever seen a flock of penguins, it is just all poop. That is just the whole environment is just feces.
it is.
So,
It's so gross. Oh no.
so back to food. I have not been tempted yet because again, I'm just like on day 3 or 4. I can't remember. And I'm still kind of in the I'm sad part of it to get to the experience. Like I'm in the just put a plate of whatever you think will be healthy for me right now in front of me, and we'll get to the next meal.
Aw.
So
I'm so sorry.
I'm trying to see it as a good opportunity. I'm also learning about my body's response to food more than I ever have before as well, because I think I've mentioned, if not on the show to you, Danae, that I don't know what hunger feels like. I don't understand. I understand what starvation feels like. I understand the idea that I haven't eaten long enough that my body is like reacting. But I am always hungry and, never full unless I really, really overdo it. And what I'm learning is that when I say hungry, I mean, I want flavor in my mouth, because now I'm not hungry in the way that I would define hungry.
Oh, that's interesting. And you wouldn't have ever really been able to make that delineation.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't understand the difference. And now I'm starting to understand the difference.
Wow. Because like for me, whenever it's like, oh, I'm hungry, there's a feeling in my gut that's of my body saying that I need to be processing something. And then I also can just feel my energy dip.
And
but
so
for you're
I'm more
talking
in
about
tune with that.
flavor. Interesting.
Flavor. Yeah. So,
Wow.
or craving or whatever.
Do you think you'll have a different relationship with food after this? Do you think it'll go like, oh, I respect this differently? Or do you think it's going to be like full
if it lasts
extreme,
long enough?
Like a Cookie Monster, get it all in my mouth because you're going to miss it so much.
Well,
Are you worried?
After I thought I tasted the orange, let's just say this. I went through our refrigerator and just kind of tried and like nothing else I could taste. So I was just like, so yes, I think there will be that initial moment of bring me a calzone.
Just like your vacuum cleaner.
Feed me grapes. No, I don't know. But if it lasts long enough, I guarantee it will. I will learn more the longer it lasts. But we'll see. I think it's educational, and I try to look at it from a positive place.
Good for you.
All right, ready for the you questions, Danae? Do you have some picked out that you want to go through? All right, let's do it.
Yep. This one's from Polly. Snow in Louisiana right now. What's the craziest weather that you've ever seen? Hands down, it was a tornado.
Yeah, I imagine, right?
It was up close and personal, and it was dumb. We went tornado.
Did you see the funnel? Did you actually spot the funnel? And yeah, man, that would be terrifying.
Well, and the weather to get to the tornado was some of this. That was probably one of the most scary moments of my entire life. It was just a dumb decision all around, but I'll never do that again. It was going through such thick rain I couldn't see, and then hail, and then all of a sudden it was like pink/lavender sky, and then it was orange, just orange sky, and about 1.5 miles to 2 miles away was the biggest tornado I will ever see in my life.
Wow.
Please. Please, God, let that be true.
I
immediately noped out of there. My friend was like, let's keep going. And I'm like, nope.
So you didn't have that instinct that like storm chasers have. Like there's not a part of you that's like, I want to be in this craziness. Or was it just that you knew you weren't in like if you were in a more sturdy vehicle, like a storm chasing vehicle, would you have felt different? Would you have been like, okay, let's get it close as we can, So
I was in a Bronco, like, or it was like a GMC. I think they're called the Jimmy. and it was a pretty much a tank type vehicle. So and it was doing pretty good. But I was with somebody who had that instinct, and I was trying to figure out, is this my instinct? I don't know. Like, I was so scared though, and I thought, push through. And then once I saw the tornado, I realized, nope, I am not this person, and I was in control. I think if he had been driving, we would have kept going, and I would have been along for a ride. But I was in control, so I noped out of there pretty quick.
I am very aware that I am the nope person. Like as far as danger goes, like get me as far away as possible. Like I am not the person who stands as close to the edge to see the down the look down at at the Grand Canyon or whatever. I'm just like, nope, I could stumble and die. I'm gonna be fine back here. And so
I discovered the feature on Instagram, which is much like TikTok, where you're just kind of sharing reels and it's just video clips of people doing things from like this adrenaline channel or something.
Sure.
And I'm just like, no, I'm so scared right now. I am in bed.
And I feel like I'm going to die.
And I think I'm going to puke. I'm all the way back in our chat and I just saw this from It Don't Connect saying Penguin Danae is peak Danae.
Nice.
Thank you for that.
The craziest weather I've ever been in was a hurricane. And this was on a family vacation on
How did I not think about that? I've been in a hurricane too.
Well, you know what? Honestly, the tornado I think would trump the hurricane because hurricanes are scary, and when you see what the wind really does at those speeds, like
oh my gosh.
And we were hunkered down in a hotel. You're talking about the hurricane of Florida, which is more recent.
Irma, right?
In Irma, right? I'm talking about Andrew on the Gulf Coast, which of course my poor brother, who's named Andrew, on our vacation, like all the papers are like, Andrew ravages the Gulf Coast. It's like,
Andrew's like, I didn't do
it. Actually, I think he kind of loved it, but yeah, so seeing that was impressive. But seeing a tornado is different because it's this thing. It's like almost like this being. It's almost like a beast that is coming for you. So yeah, I think that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Here's one from D'Angelina Dindo 28. I just butchered her name, and I apologize for that.
It could be Dana Galindo.
It could be. What is a societal pressure that you have felt that has shaped or changed the way you live?
Ooh,
that's a good one. That's a deep one.
That is a deep question because honestly, I'm the type of person who my immediate reaction to this question is none. I don't change the way I live based on societal pressure. I change the way I live based on truth that I see in the world around me. Aaron, that's kind of societal pressure. Oh, right.
Oh, crap. Put it on a bagel.
I guess it's the pressure part, right? Like it's I would call it more societal awareness, more cultural engagement, those kind of things.
I'm gonna be honest here. I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna disappoint some people, I feel. But I feel like it's many of you already know this. I think it's
go back to the political discussion now. You're gonna bring up a political okay.
It's cussing for me.
Yeah.
The societal pressure is that I should not have a vivid vocabulary. And so I really am cautious about being very careful about the mediums and the places that I do express myself with more R-rated terminologies. That's okay. I've learned that over the years, but I think that's one where it's more like you shouldn't talk this way or you shouldn't say these things this way. And I don't know that I entirely agree with that, but I definitely have changed my entire life. It's nothing new, but it's my entire, adult life from the time that I was able to kind of express myself without concern for what others were thinking. I've always had a very vivid vocabulary.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to think about it?
I'm really having difficulty with this question.
It's a good question. It's just something
it is a great question, and I know because you went a direction of like change. Pressure has changed me in the way I live, in like hindered me, like cut something off about me, and I'm thinking about pressure changing me and like expanding me, and like what is something. So and either way, I just keep coming back to, I think I was raised to understand what was important, what was valued, what was what pressure really was, in a way that if I wanted to express myself, I was able to express myself. So yeah, this is a really tough one for
It's a big
me.
one to think about. You mean move on to the next one from
I will
Molly?
continue to think about it. If something comes up, I definitely
Sure.
will say it. Yeah, sure.
Today, most shops have half-price chocolates. If you could go and pick anything, what's your chocolate of choice? Anything white chocolate. I realized I have a love of white chocolate Kit Kats
Mhm.
over Halloween. I'd never had one before, but my husband got a white chocolate like variety pack. So it had white chocolate Reese's cups, peanut butter cups, and then the Kit Kats, and there was one other that I cannot think of, but either way, they're really bland in a beautiful way. I realized I really like white chocolate. It's just it's more of a calm flavor. So I would definitely go for white chocolate stuff. And
They're
thank you
all
for the reminder.
they're they're all just melty paper at this point.
Oh,
So
melty paper?
I don't know.
What a funny way of describing chocolate. It's melty paper.
Yeah, just melty paper. No, I like cherry filled chocolates. Like I like the idea of melt, like sucking the chocolate off, like letting it melt in your mouth.
Like those
And then you've
malt
got
balls or something.
yeah, sure. Yeah. So yeah, if you're going with like Valentine-y kind of chocolates, then yeah, I like the kind of fruit centered stuff.
This is the best day to go for the discounts.
Oh, for sure.
Oh man,
Yeah.
all of a sudden my chat popped all the way down to the bottom.
I was looking at the bottom
Okay, good.
of the chat to kind of get people's responses while you kind of looked up for
Okay.
questions. And so I'm going to give a few of the societal pressures. Greg says, for me, it's drinking coffee. Truth is, I don't even like this stuff. That's because it tastes horrible, Greg. Started drinking it socially, and then I got hooked. Yeah.
That's how the cigarettes start.
That's what Polly said, Greg. That's how I started smoking as a teen.
Yeah.
And then Greg also mentions gossip, which I thought was an interesting one. Also, gossip. People talk about the actions of other people all the time, and I'm completely guilty. I have gotten sucked in. Yeah. I thought those were good ones to kind of pick up on as well.
Just a quick shout out to the Slender Man on Twitch chat. Good morning. Yes, this is a onesie. I'll just try to show.
There you go.
I'm a little penguin today. This is a gift from my mother, who decided that she could not wear the penguin. And I have another one too that I might wear someday.
Nice. What's the next question?
Steven asks, what is your favorite color aside from black, Aaron? Black doesn't count.
Well, I will go ahead and say that my answer to this is actually not black. My answer to this question is black and white. I love the chromaticness and the dichotomy of black and white. That has always been since high school. Now, I think you're asking me to go beyond black and white, beyond
one color. It says, what's your favorite color, not what's your favorite color combination.
Well, the easy answer would be white then, right? Like I just go,
okay,
color? Well, is black?
No, you literally went with the two colors. They're like non-colors, right?
That's my point. That's why I love them.
Is this why you like dice so much?
Well, my last name is Dicer, so there is probably that part of it. You could say maybe the one resulted in the other. If you're going to push me beyond the monochromatic scale, then I would go with purple.
Dude, I was thinking purple too.
Yeah, purple's fine.
I'll go azure.
Azure.
I love cobalt. The color cobalt is one of my absolute favorites. Just that deep, like sapphire kind of blue. Yeah. Love that so much.
I like a lot of the blues. A lot of the blues are real. I mean, purple, if you go far enough, is a type of blue in some ways. But like ocean blue, like the real like tropical ocean blue is it's really pretty. Yeah. So I like that part of the spectrum.
New topic. It's not a question, but I love the roses in the background. These were the gift from my husband for Valentine's Day. We usually don't do the traditional kind of gifts, but Iris, our almost 4-year-old, has been recently talking about how much she loves flowers. So he went all out, and I wanted to show that off to you guys today. So I'm glad you noticed it.
Very nice.
Another one from Greg. Phone scams that you've recently had, such as me. Greg, who is blind from birth, notices that the vehicle warranty is expired. Oh, Greg. I get the Social Security ones on the regular these days.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting them probably at least once a week. Like, this is the Department of Social Security. You need to call us immediately or you'll have nothing.
I haven't gotten one in a long time.
So
I don't know if I'm
frustrating.
just good about hitting like scam and block. Like on my Google does a pretty good job of like blocking that stuff as it comes in. So, but yeah, it's probably been years since I've gotten any kind of weird phone call like that. But I remember they used to be, it was always about some sort of like, you're going to jail. That's when I get them, it was always about like, you know,
You're going down. You're going away.
yeah, if you don't respond to this today, like they're coming to get you. And yeah,
My grandmother,
taxes, like tax stuff. Like it was always about like, you know,
Yeah.
hey, you know, you have unpaid taxes on this stuff, and like this is your last chance.
yeah. And it's
kinda
scary when you think about it. And you're like, oh, I probably would have gotten some form of contact
from the IRS.
from the
themselves.
IRS at some point.
Yeah.
But there is that brief panic where you think, did I mess something up? You know,
Sure.
my grandmother was scammed recently with someone calling, saying that they were her grandson, which she has a grandson that would be of age, and that he had gotten into trouble. So, and she said, oh, Colton. And then they're like, yes, it's about Colton, you know? And so they played off of her information expertly. And through conversation, she was able to kind of realize that they were wanting bailout money for him. And so she's smart and witty and figured it out, but scammers they're relentless.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to Nick talking about weather events. A tornado formed a water spout at a park at the beach, and I had to quickly run to the car, and the wind was so strong we had trouble closing the door, and something shattered our back window while we were driving away.
Nick, what? Holy shoot.
I do remember a hailstorm one time in college where we came out in the parking lot, and like there were more broken windshields than intact windshields. Like the hail was so intense that it was one of those things. Yeah, that's pretty intense. Nick.
Greg says, I was on a tilt-a-whirl once during a major lightning storm. You guys, scary stuff.
I've had this one too. Polly says I've been in Phoenix at 122 degrees. I have as well.
No.
For a conference, and it got up in the 120s. And it was when I learned that when people say it's a dry heat, they aren't lying. It feels totally different. And if you don't purposefully hydrate, you will dehydrate yourself because you don't realize how hot it is and what your body's having to do to survive. So, yeah.
Lolly was in a forest fire in Spain, had to be emergency evacuated.
Ooh,
you guys,
that's terrifying.
That is so scary.
Have you seen like the videos of people escaping forest fires where they're trying? Oh,
why have you?
Well, just because they pop up, and it's just like, and I know they're okay because there's
pop up where, Aaron?
On the internets. Have you been to the internets?
I feel like you're on YouTube
or Twitter or
like,
whatever.
Hey, check out this crazy video.
Yeah.
Oh my
where
gosh.
It's like we're escaping a forest fire in California or whatever, and it's like trees are like, you know, falling in the road, and it's just like it's something, man. And you have to back up and find another road, and it's like
no. Penguin says no. I just had a flashback of watching one, but it was a long while back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was someone that was videoing it. Oh, that's scary. Nope.
Yep. Well, is that it today? Did you see any more questions you want to get to?
I'm doing a quick scan.
While Danae's doing that, and if we find another one, we'll go ahead and answer it. But I will kind of just let you know again. If you look at the scroll at the bottom, it tells you a lot of ways to connect and keep up to date with us. We've mentioned Twitter. We're pretty active on Twitter, although Danae is now thinking about canceling hers, apparently. At Danae says, I'm at Aaron Dicer. You can also, of course, subscribe wherever you're watching this. Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, that other social media site that shall not be named. You can also join Team DNA. We haven't talked about that today. That is our Patreon support. And we have our next goal is 8 people away, doing $5 a month. And we'll do some D&D. We'll stream some D&D for you guys. So you can check that out at patreon.com/studio DNA. And don't forget to hit the bell so you know when we go live, because it's not just Mondays, although it has been recently.
Yes.
But it is Mondays and some days. Other weekdays, sometimes we get the green light and we're like, hey, let's do a show. So
let's do this thing. And you never know when a penguin will appear. Now, I do want to say, Greg says, someone describe what a penguin looks like to a blind man, please.
Okay.
Or feels like, or something that I can compare it to. Okay, now this is a fun stuff because I've never held a penguin before. So
Polly took a shot at it. And you want to hear Polly's shot first?
Yeah.
Polly said, I'd say think of a short, feathered, fat bowling pin with a short orange yellow beak. Now, a bowling pin is, it's like it kind of starts with a base that's thinner and then gets a little wider and then gets really thin, and then so it's a little like moundy.
It's bulbous.
Yeah, it's very bulbous.
It's a little moundy. Okay.
And they have really short wings, like these that do nothing. Like, they can't fly. And
technically, they help them swim.
They waddle around on webbed feet and, these tiny little wings. Yes, the wings give them aerodynamics in the water. They are built to swim.
So the cool thing about penguins is that their feathers are so dense that it helps them to stay insulated in the winter. Mm-hmm. So I do wonder what they would feel like if like when you touched them, it would feel like cold, like a refrigerator. Mm-hmm. And maybe even kind of dense like that. Because when I think of feathers, I always, I imagine that you think of an eagle or a down feather pillow or something. Mm-hmm. But their feathers are so tightly packed together to keep them warm. I wonder if it would feel more hard.
Lolly just correctly corrected me. I said aerodynamics in water. That would be hydrodynamics in water. Just so we're clear. And I do appreciate the correction, and I'm glad you know that about me. But yes, you're absolutely correct. Hydrodynamics.
Here's another question I came across. Do you want to hop over to that, or is anyone else?
Sure. Hey, we already hopping back. We can finish off when we're done. But yeah, if you've got another one, throw it up there.
Greg asks, how old is your oldest living relative? That's a great question. My grandma turns 100 this week. Wow. Shout out to Edith Granatella, even though she is not watching. My grandmother is 90, and that's my oldest living relative.
Yeah, we just lost my grandma, and yeah, she was in her 90s. I feel bad for not knowing her exact age. I think she had just turned 90 or something. We went to her either 90th or 95th birthday. I can't remember. So it's our parents now, my wife and my parents, who are all still with us, be the direct, because I think both my wife and I have lost all of our grandparents at this point. So
yeah,
boy, how bad? Let me think of this.
Okay, you think of that.
How bad would it be if I was wrong? I know I've lost
so bad.
Lost all my grandparents.
The good news is I don't think your dad's here anymore. He's super here. He is so watching right now. You're so screwed.
No. All my grandparents have moved on, and all of my wife's have as well. So yeah.
Yeah, your dad is super in the chat and talking about M&Ms earlier.
My mom's mom, Edith. My mom's mom, my great grandmother was also named Edith and lived a long, long time. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, Greg's questions are the best. We should end it on this one. This is a good one for everybody to think about. Greg asks, what's the weirdest feeling that you ever felt with your fingers?
Okay.
What a great question for a blind man, because that's how you're seeing the world.
Sure.
So I bet you felt something.
Sure.
So his answer is a hedgehog. A pet hedgehog. I bet that would be very, very strange.
That would be very, very strange. What a great question.
I know.
I probably something that has weird scientific properties. I remember being very shocked by like when you put, and I forget what it is, I think it's cornstarch in something together and it creates a liquid, but when you forcefully hit the liquid, it's almost a solid.
Yeah, what is that stuff called?
I mean, I think it's just cornstarch and
No,
there's water or
there's
oh,
like
you mean there's a technical term for those kind of liquids.
Yeah.
So like you would slap it and it would be like, I can't even get through it. And then, but like if you just went slowly, yeah, it was totally liquid. That stuff felt weird. So yeah, that was definitely one of them. That's kind of the kind of thing I would probably go with.
Oobleck.
An oobleck, you say? I don't think I've heard that word.
I literally Googled, when you hit it, it's solid. When you touch it, it's softy liquid. Softy liquid.
All right, I'll do some Googling. You come up with your answer.
It says it can feel like a solid when you hold it in a ball, and it becomes liquid when you let your hand loose. It takes the shape of whatever it's holding. Oobleck gets its name from a book by Dr. Seuss called Bartholomew and the Oobleck. So you can look that up. I would think that's
my
strange.
Google says it's called a suspension. Called suspension. And yes, it's just cornstarch and water.
Oh, but Nick in the chat says oobleck. Oh! I'm going to go. Okay, so my answer for this question was when I was probably 8, I went to a Halloween party where they had you stick your hand into a box so you couldn't see what was in it. And it was and then you had to feel what it was with your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was meant to, terrify you. But let me just be very clear. This was a church environment. So it wasn't nefarious. It was silly. But peeled grapes freaked me out. Because
that's a good one. That's a good one.
They said it was eyeballs,
right, yeah.
And so forever, like after that, I just, the certain textures of touching certain textures, it just gives me the heebies. And I know it's from that moment because I reached my hand into a bowl. And now that I think about it, and so had hundreds of other children reach their same hand into this little bacteria bowl.
We already know kid hands are the cleanest. So, yeah.
But, and then there was another one that was brains, and they had taken, I think it was Jell-O, and then they had put cooked spaghetti in a Jell-O mold. But by the time my hot little kid hand got to it, the Jell-O was already like almost liquid at that point. And so it was just this goopy, weird thing. That was another one I put my hand into. But I know it was because of the intensity of the moment and not necessarily because I was like, oh, this is a really interesting texture. But I take textures for granted, Greg, because I have sight. So I would fully admit that. And I think I should think about this more. I do love certain textures. I love the texture of my daughter's hair, for example. I'll just pet her hair. This is so soft.
I did a Google search for what does touching a brain feel like.
Oh, great.
And the actual answer is kind of like tough jelly. It gives some resistance, more than pudding, but with enough force you can poke a hole in it and stick your finger.
Aaron, you were supposed to be looking up oobleck.
No, I didn't.
And then you pivoted to brains?
Well, I was just curious what an actual brain felt like. I've never actually felt one, so I was curious. Can a guy be curious?
Just ask Greg. He's felt brains before, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure that is something that has happened.
But hate ego says a Newtonian fluid. Ooh, look up Newtonian fluid, Aaron.
Yep,
that sounds fascinating.
On it.
Okay.
A Newtonian fluid is a fluid which is in which the viscous stresses arising from its flow at every point are there's ours. Sorry. They are linearly correlated to the local strain rate, the rate of its change of its deformation over time. I think Newtonian fluids are like toothpaste. I think it is technically a Newtonian fluid, where it's like if it sits there for a while, it's going to take the shape of what it's in, but it kind of constrains itself for a while to the shape of, whatever.
But that's not the fluid we're talking about.
No, we are specifically talking about a suspension fluid like cornstarch and water.
Okay.
So, yes. Correct.
Yeah, this is all fascinating stuff, and now I'm on my own little Google search. But
that's a good place to head on to our day.
I'm gonna go make an oobleck. Okay. There's a website I found called ScienceExplorers.com what is oobleck? And that's where I'm going to be going next.
Sounds like fun. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out with us on another Monday. We will be back on the next Monday or someday, and we will see you then.
Quack, quack.
Bye, guys. Love you all.
No, wait.
Remember the sound. Nope, that was more like blowing your nose. But hey, it works. Whatever
The
you want
first
to do.
one was way better.
It was actual penguins. But now you're just, silent.